Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of the From Her View podcast with myself, Sade Camille. I don't know what happened there. It was giving Icelandic or I don't know, me stumbling over my words. But I am excited as always for another episode of our podcast as we are continuing our series of um Think and Grow Rich audio banger series. And so now we're getting into some real meat and potatoes into our book. And so hopefully you guys had a chance to read it or listen to the first three chapters of the book. So hopefully you guys have been utilizing some of those practical steps that I said in the previous episode, documenting your process via vlog, writing, pictures, whatever, figuring out what you're willing to do to get to your goal. So this is Thinking Real Rich. This is a financial book. This is about wealth. So what are we willing to do to get to wealth? And we're using this format for steps. And that wasn't something that I um, mentioned or even brought up the first time around, but we're doing this for steps, right? So this is our first step in way to ascertain wealth. So my first step is okay, I want to purchase property. So there's certain things that I have to be willing to do. So what am I willing to do to purchase property? There's a whole list of things that I have to be willing to do in order to get there. And so I have to write down my list of things that I'm willing to do and not just write them down. We have to do them. Okay. But we're moving right along. This is one of my favorite parts of the book, and this is where he's talking about the subconscious mind. So, if you listen to the previous audio banger series where we went into Atomic Habits by James Clear, we understand that some of these things are very innate. They're just things that we constantly do, we repeatedly do, and that there's ways for us to change our habits, but we can change these habits over time. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. But he's letting us know that the true change happens in our subconscious mind. And so our subconscious mind does store our habits and our emotions. So he's trying to teach us a way to tap into our subconscious. And so basically one of the ways of your subconscious mind is when you're sleeping. When you're sleeping, your body is like a computer and it's like rebooting, right? And it's getting rest and it's recalibrating itself and it's doing all those essential things that it needs to do. Subconsciously, what you feed it during that time, it's very potent. So what you watch before you go to sleep or what you listen to before you go to sleep, it really does affect your sleep, the things that you ruminate on, and what have you. And so I've even had it where I had some weird dreams, but I don't think it was a weird dream in the sense of just a weird dream for the sake of it being weird. But I think there was a message in that, and I'm definitely excited to bring that to the podcast as well. So he's saying that auto suggestion of deliberately feeding your brain positive affirmations are going to be the key things in order to get a hold of your subconscious. So one of the ways that you can do this is also by like listening to scripture or like the Bible. So I have the Bible in audio version. I think I have it in like two versions. I mean, technically I have it in a lot of versions, because the YouVersion Bible app, I'm not a sponsor, but YouVersion Bible app, it also has it where it will read the Bible to you. And so it is something that you can play and you're subconsciously listening to it and you can fall asleep to the word of God. I also have the version where it's James Earl Jones. Now, if you know what James Earl Jones voice, baby, you know that thing is chef's kiss, child. And then I have another one that's a very it's all black cast theatrics of, all the famous black actors. Um, that's also another one of my favorites to listen to, just because it's theatrical, so they bring it to life, and you can hear like horses and chariots and walking and all the things like that. So that's something that I give myself subconsciously. Now, before, I would just like listen to music, just like any old music. And then my kids got into the habit of just listening to music, and it was completely affecting their mood because it was ministering to their subconscious mind while they were asleep. Okay. So I told them, like, y'all need to stop listening to this. You need to listen to something else. And so now, that they have a TV in the room, out of the blue, my son, I mean, I do this too, so he's not new to it. Like, I will do this from time to time myself. But they've been listening to rain music, which is just, something nice, soothing. I call it like the music of God, he creates rain. And that is something that's feeding into their subconscious mind. So when they hear it now, it makes them sleepy. It makes them want to sleep because it calms them. It makes them at rest. It makes them at peace. And that is a good thing. So you also want to control your thoughts by choosing joy and peace. Okay. Now, normally I save the practical steps for the end, but choosing joy and peace. Just having a conversation with a coworker, um, who has anger issues. And, I know they have anger issues because I too have anger issues. But I also have this understanding of people, and then the Holy Spirit speaks to me. So I have a different lens of it now. I can control my anger a lot better than I used to. So I can control my anger a lot better now. It does come out here and there, but very rarely. Um, I am one of those unfortunate souls that when they are trying to keep the Hulk at bay, they shed thug tears. Okay, and people think the thug tears is because, you know we're sad at whatever is said. No, it is not because of that. It's because we're literally like, I want to punch you in the face. Let me work to keep my hands from lifting up. Like, that's literally my brain at any given moment. But that would be a part of controlling your joy, controlling your peace. So I was having a conversation with my coworker, and I was letting them know, like, hey, you know, a majority of our coworkers are the way they are because they don't have any identity outside of where we are, meaning that this place is their life. And not to say that you don't have a life, but you're not doing anything productive, or you don't have a passion project that you're doing. You do hobbies, but you don't have something that you're currently like fighting tooth and nail for to get. And when you're fighting tooth and nail to get something, you are not going to let anybody knock you off your square. You're focused, you're determined, you're ready to get it by any means necessary. You are not trying to get no type of nose, you know. And so I'm having this conversation with my coworker, and they're like, "Yeah, I do have some things that I want to do, but I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to start." And I'm like, well, this is a conversation. This is a starting point. So once you are consumed by the desire for your thing, it does help you choose joy and choose peace more. And then that ties into the strong emotions. They help to impact the subconscious through practicing and repeating it. So, you know, getting in the habit of saying, every day, like, I'm blessed, I'm highly favored, the Lord shines down on me. He walks with me through the valley of shadow of death. I shall feel no evil. He gave me the ability to tread on snakes and scorpions. You know, having that type of thing that we repeat to ourselves, um, will help us in our subconscious. One of the things that I have, and I kid you not, I have said this in a dream in full knowing that I'm saying this in a dream because it was some stuff going on. But um my favorite scripture as of late is resist the devil and he shall flee. Resist the devil and he shall flee. Like that is my stuff. And I'd be looking at people like resist the devil and he shall flee. And it's true. Um if you don't engage, he has no other thing to do but to retreat. Um, and so we have to practice repeating those words over ourselves in order to train our subconscious mind to be inundated with positivity. And that is what partnership with God, time with God will do to you. If you're in His Word, and now mind you, let me keep it a buck. The Word is titillating, child. The Word, look, they was messy just as messy as we messy, okay? So it's some real life stuff happening. Some real life stuff where you're like, this is in the Bible? Yes, it's in the Bible because it's real life stuff. It's real life things. Like, y'all really, you know, are doing this. And so that's going to help you with your emotions because it's going to show you even how Jesus reacted to things that were going on volatile around him. And we need that. The next chapter, chapter 5, this is where he starts talking about specialized knowledge versus general knowledge. And I really like this because it kind of reminded me of this message from E.T., the hip hop preacher. And I just love the way that he expressed this because it was so colorful and it did help you resonate with it because everybody has seen a Jason Statham movie. Everybody's seen an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. So he says, I'm not out here trying to gain all knowledge. I'm trying to get specific knowledge and execute on it. He was like, you're over here like Arnold Schwarzenegger. You shooting up the house. It's holes all in the house. You holes all in the couch. It's other people catching strays. And yeah, you eventually get your intended target, but you created so much damage, so much collateral damage in the process. Then you have Jason Statham, who gets on top of the roof, has his, sniper rifle out. He's watching, he's waiting, one shot, and nobody even knows the guy's dead. He dead, don't nobody know. Like he's saying that's the level of attack that you have to have when it comes to your knowledge. So specialized knowledge is going to help set you apart in situations because you're going to have the nuanced information that people don't have. Let me make this practical, right? Everybody knows how to make ramen, right? You get you some mancharon, ramen, noodles, and you make it however you want to make it. That's the general knowledge of how a lot of us know how to make ramen versus the actual historical specialized way of making your fresh noodles, making your broth from scratch. Which, baby, the broth alone takes so much dang time because they're cleaning the broth and all. It's so much cleaning and refining and getting out the impurities. Like it is a long process for this ramen. And so we are so used to the instant that we don't understand that there's a specialized way to do it to get the maximum results. And that's what he's discussing. He's also discussing how your knowledge should be organized. It's not enough for it to be in your head. it needs to be on paper. It needs to be in digital format. It needs to be in a pie chart. It needs to be in a mind map. It needs to be in some sort of way to help organize your thoughts in hopes to move you towards your goal. Now, in chapter 5, this is also a very good one. Actually, this is just a very good book, but chapter 5 is discussing your imagination. And I like this description of it. And it says, imagination gives shape and form to plans and desires. Imagination gives shapes and form to plans and desires. What does that mean to me? So, imagination is taking something that you hope for. Like, for instance, I'm hoping and praying for a new car someday. My imagination is I can see the car. I already know what type of car it is. It's an Audi. Okay. What type of Audi? A sedan. Okay. White, black leather seats. Yeah, I'm gonna go there. All the bells and whistles tinted out. Like, yeah, that's what I'm feeling. It's an Audi. And I can visualize it with my imagination. I could see me driving it. It helps form plans and desires. So now that I can imagine this, I can desire it. Now that I can desire it, now I'm going to work backwards and figure out the steps to get to that destination. And that is the key of imagination. If you lack imagination, you don't have any real starting point because there's no emotional draw to it. There's nothing tied to it. You're not going to be able to resonate it in the most impactful way that you need to. You're going to have a very like cavalier thought process towards it. So imagination is key. Now, we're going to go in to tangible steps, right? Because we're trying to transform ourselves. We're trying to transform ourselves, and so we need tangible things, things that we can touch, feel, see, keep track of, right? So, we're creating these affirmations centered around God. That is going to help our subconscious mind. So they're centered around God, meaning, you know, Jehovah Jireh, you're my provider. Jehovah Nisi, you're my peace. And it's surrounding him. It's calling him into the atmosphere because he is I am. I am means I am. I am healer. I'm God. I am Father. I'm Son. I'm all that. I am. When he told Moses, when they ask you who sent for me, who do I say? Say I am sent you. Because I am. Everything. All things. Baby. So if he's everything, all things, you can't be affirmed outside of him. Okay? You can't be affirmed outside of him. He knows he created you to be, and he tells you in his word who he created you to be, and he calls you those things. He calls you highly favored. He calls you beautiful. He calls you blessed. Okay? He calls you those things. Another thing that you could do is visualize success. And then if you're having a hard time visualizing it on your own, you can ask God to help show you. Sometimes, I'm trying to think who would be a good one. Um, I can't even think of his name right now, but oh my God, it's like on the tip of my tongue and I can't even think of his name right now. But he's in the Bible, clearly, and he is threshing wheat in an obscure place because they're trying to hide from their adversaries because their adversaries are stealing their, their wheats or whatever. So he's threshing wheat. An angel of the Lord appears to him and says, a great warrior, you're going to be a great warrior. And at that moment in time, he's not a warrior at all. Like he's scary. He hiding because he ain't got them hands, right? But God sent this angel to tell him, great warrior, I'm here because God sent me to you, great warrior. Like that's God showing up. You don't see yourself like how he sees you, or you don't see where he means for you to go. It's so far fetched to you, you can't even come into agreement with it. Like you're having a hard time processing it. And if you're having a hard time processing it, that's when you need to call and get nearer and closer to him in order for him to show you those things. Because if he's not in the midst, it's going to be really hard for you to get the real thing. And you guys are like, well, not everybody's believers and their things are coming to pass. But guess what? When God gives you something, it's a sustained thing, right? When God gives you something, like he told the moon and the stars, get up there, okay? Get up there. They still up there. He don't gotta tell them every day, stay up there. He said it one time, get up there. So you're getting things outside of God and it's not sustainable because then you have to do it in your power and you're not powerful. You're not all powerful. Everything you have is an extension of him. So then we have repeating his word daily over us. Repeating his words daily over us. That is what's going to help shift our mindsets because a lot of us have a lot of negative self-talk. I have coworkers where I have to literally be like, they don't even do it anymore because I feel like, we don't do negative self-talk over here. Like, I have internal dialogue all the time about random things. Um, I'd be like, oh, I need to lose some weight, but never be like, I'm so fat, I'm so ugly, nobody's ever gonna like me because I'm fat. I'm like, girl, you need to lose some weight, girl. You just need to get snatched. You're cute though. You're real cute. I'm never gonna have a situation where I'm going to talk negatively to myself, mainly because I'm too old. I'm too old, for one. For two, if somebody has something bad to say about me, there's so many people out here who don't even love themselves. Why would I care about their opinion if they don't even love themselves? I don't care. How are you going to invalidate or validate me and you're your own worst enemy? Get out of here. So you could also create a mood board of what you see to bring tangible clarity to your vision. So a vision board and a mood board is two different things, right? Usually people make a vision board of the things that they just want, right? A mood board is different. It's like it's something that you already see. You have bits and pieces. You can't get a full picture. And so you take little snippets and bits from everywhere, and then you're able to kind of see like what's forming because now you have everything not in your brain like a picture in a picture because like we see things in pictures. We don't see things in our brain like we see things when we write them out or when we have pictures strewn. You know what I'm saying? we see things in a frame. And so we might be like, oh yeah, I need to do this and I need to do this. But unless we write it down, like I have a little bit of a photographic memory. If I write it down, I can remember what I wrote down. I can remember what that visually looks like. But if I don't have a visual origin for something, I have bits and pieces, it's going to be really, really hard for me to see the full picture and have clarity. So that's where a mood board would be essential. And you don't even have to do it, cutting out pictures and everything like that. Like you can just get on freaking Canva and do a mood board and just, Google some images and do little snippets and punch it out and, see that overview of like, okay, what is this looking like? Like what are we trying to do? Like what do we see this being? And then it will start to take form and it will start to take shape. And then because it's taking form and shape, you now have something to do further research off of. And then now you can reverse engineer your plan or tweak your plan accordingly. And then we have become a specialist and execute. You need details. So, for instance, I know that 2025, what I did actually, I started this in 2020, but I didn't pass it until 2021, literally right after I had brain surgery. So in 2021, something that I did now in 2025 is going to have life breathed into it. And so I need to be able to become a specialist in this area and execute it. I know the steps that I have to do, and I'm really just trying to figure out like how is that going to fit into everything else that I'm also trying to do. But like I said before, what are you willing to do? Are you willing to take a short-term L or have a little bit of a delayed gratification to get something that will have long-term benefits? So I know my real estate license is going to have long-term benefits because it's an opportunity for me to get large sum payouts. It may take longer time. Like it's not like, oh man, you're just making deals and you made, $20,000 from like 5 deals in a month. Like it'll get to that point one day, but year one, that's not what the data calls for. But the data does call for some return, at least one deal. At least, at the very least, one deal should be able to happen within that time span. And so that's something where I'm like, okay, girl, it's time to get in position. It's time to put the pedal to the metal. So we went over chapter 4, 5, and 6 of Think and Grow Rich. We also went ahead and broke down some tangible steps that we could utilize in order to bring us to where we're trying to go. Now, I'm not deep diving into the book like I normally do. I'm just really trying to exegete the core principles. But in the book, Napoleon gives great details to a lot of affluent people. Like he was around a lot of affluent people, like people who have wealth, generational wealth. He was around them. So he even talks about Henry Ford, and that is where chapter 5 kind of stems from, where, Henry Ford only had, oh my God, I want to say they said like maybe a month or a couple of weeks worth of education. And, they were like, you don't know anything about this, da, da, da. And Henry Ford was like, I don't need to know. I just need to know the people that do know, and they got the specialized knowledge, so I'm good. So as long as you can get the specialized knowledge, that's the only thing that really matters. And so I hope you guys take a listen, take a read of these next 4 chapters, okay, of Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. And I am excited. Leave them in the comments. Let me know what are some of the things that you took away from those 3 chapters once you've read them, and what will you be implementing as some steps in order to help you think and grow rich. Once again, this has been Sade Camille, and this has been an episode of the From Her View podcast. Bye.